Will she dance with me?
I would love to.
The Ashford Estate ballroom gleamed with golden light from a dozen chandeliers. 200 guests in formal attire filled the space for the annual charity gala. Business partners, society elite, important connections. Everyone who mattered was there except for one small figure standing alone near the wall. Willow Ashford was 3 years old, with blonde hair and a pink dress. She stood perfectly still, watching the crowd with wide eyes, not moving, not speaking, just observing. Behind her at a distance stood her father, Callum Ashford, 37 years old, with dark hair and a gray suit, CEO of Ashford Enterprises, widower, and the father of a daughter most people chose not to see. Willow had been diagnosed with autism when she was 2. She was mostly nonverbal, struggled with social interaction, preferred routine and solitude. Tonight, Callum had tried to include her in the family event, but as usual, the guests avoided her, made polite excuses, moved away. It broke his heart. Near the service entrance stood Eliza Monroe, 25, years old, with strawberry blonde hair pulled back under a white headband. She wore the household staff uniform, a black dress with white apron and collar. Today was her first day working at the Ashford estate. She had been hired as additional help for the gala. Eliza watched the little girl standing alone. She had worked with special needs children before, recognized the signs immediately. The way Willow held her hands, the way she avoided eye contact, the way everyone seemed to look through her. Eliza's heart ached. She had a younger brother with autism. She understood. The music changed to something softer. A waltz couples moved onto the dance floor. Willow took a small step forward, watching the dancers with fascination, but no one approached her. No one offered a hand. Eliza made a decision. She crossed the ballroom floor, aware that she was staff, that she could be fired for overstepping, but unable to stand by. She knelt in front of Willow. "Hello," Eliza said softly. "My name is Eliza." Willow did not look at her, but she did not move away either. "Would you like to dance with me?" Eliza asked. She held out her hand palm up. Non-threatening, for a long moment nothing happened. The room continued around them. People talking, laughing, ignoring the small girl and the maid. Then, Willow looked at Eliza's hand. Slowly she reached out. Her small fingers touched Eliza's palm. "Thank you," Eliza whispered. She stood carefully, keeping Willow's hand in hers. Then she began to sway gently to the music, just small movements. Nothing overwhelming. Willow watched their joined hands. Then she began to move too, small steps, cautious, but moving, dancing. Around them, the crowd gradually noticed. Conversations quieted. People turned to look. A maid in uniform, dancing with the CEO's autistic daughter. Some faces showed disapproval, others showed surprise, but Eliza did not care. She focused entirely on Willow. "You are a wonderful dancer," Eliza said softly. Willow did not respond verbally, but the smallest smile touched her lips. For 3 minutes they danced, a young woman, in a maid's uniform, and a little girl who most people pretended not to see. When the music ended, Eliza knelt again. "Thank you for dancing with me," she said. Willow looked at her, really looked at her, direct eye contact for just a second. Then she turned and walked to her father. Callum had been watching the entire time. Tears streaming down his face, he knelt and gathered Willow into his arms. Then he looked at Eliza. "Thank you," he mouthed. Eliza nodded and slipped back toward the service area she expected. To be fired had probably overstepped badly, but it had been worth it. 10 minutes later, the head housekeeper found her. "Miss Monroe, Mr. Ashford wants to see you in his study." Eliza's stomach dropped. "Now." "Yes." She followed to a wood-paneled room lined with bookshelves. Callum stood by the window. Willow sat on a leather chair coloring. "Close the door, please," Callum said. Eliza did. "I am." "Sorry, sir," she began. "I know I overstepped." "Stop," Callum said gently. He turned to face her. "Do you know what you just did?" "I danced with your daughter." "You saw my daughter." Callum corrected. "Most people look through her. Pretend she does not exist. Or, worse, make excuses to avoid her." His voice cracked. "But you knelt down, asked her to dance, treated her like she mattered." "She does matter," Eliza said. Callum nodded. "Yes, she does." He took a breath. "Tell me about yourself." So Eliza did. She told him about her brother Liam, about growing up helping him navigate a world that was not built for him, about learning patience and understanding, about studying child development, about wanting to help. "Why are you working as household staff?" Callum asked. With that, "Background, student loans," Eliza admitted. "I graduated, but the debt is overwhelming. I take whatever jobs I can find." Callum was quiet for a moment. "I have been looking for someone to help with Willow," he said. "A companion, someone who understands her, who sees her as a person, not a problem." He looked at Eliza directly. "Would you consider the position?" Eliza's eyes widened. "Working with Willow, full-time, teaching her, playing with her, helping her navigate the world." "Yes," Eliza said immediately. "Would love that." Over the following months, Eliza became part of the Ashford household. She worked with Willow daily using techniques she had learned with her brother, sign language visual schedules, sensory activities. Slowly, Willow began to emerge. She started using more words, made eye contact more often, even played with other children occasionally. Callum watched his daughter transform and found himself watching Eliza too, the way she spoke to Willow with respect, never talking down, never treating her as less, the way she celebrated small victories, a new word, a spontaneous hug, a moment of connection, the way she loved his daughter without reservation. One evening after Willow was asleep, Callum found Eliza in the library. "Can we talk?" he asked. "Of course." They sat by the fireplace. "You have changed our lives," Callum said. "Willow has grown so much." "She is remarkable," Eliza replied. "She just needed someone to meet her where she is." "You did that," Callum said, "from the first moment, when everyone else ignored her. You saw her." He took her hand. "I see you too, Eliza. I see your kindness, your patience, your beautiful heart." Eliza felt tears forming. "Callum, I am falling in love with you," he said. "I have been since that night at the gala, when you knelt down and asked my daughter to dance. When you chose compassion over propriety. I fell in love that night too," Eliza whispered. "They married 6 months later. Willow was the flower girl. She took her job very seriously, walking slowly down the aisle, dropping petals with careful precision. At the reception, Callum gave a toast. "A year ago, my daughter attended a gala," he said. "She stood alone while 200 people pretended not to see her. Then a young woman in a maid's uniform did something extraordinary. She walked across that ballroom, knelt down, and asked my autistic daughter to dance." He looked at his wife, Eliza. "You saw Willow when others looked away. You treated her with dignity when others offered pity. You loved her before you even knew her." His voice broke. "You taught me that the measure of a person is not in their status or wealth, but in how they treat those the world overlooks." He raised his glass to my wife, who chose love over convention, who sees beauty where others see difference, who made us a family. Eliza stood and hugged him on the dance floor later that evening. Willow tugged on Eliza's dress. "Dance," she said clearly. One of her new words. Eliza knelt down. I would love to dance with you. She took Willow's hands, and they swayed. Together, just like that first night. Except this time they were family. Sometimes the most important moments start with a simple choice. To see someone others overlook, to offer kindness when it costs you something, to treat dignity as non-negotiable. Sometimes a dance between a maid and a little girl changes 3 lives forever. If this story touched your heart, please like and share it with someone who champions those with different abilities. Subscribe for more stories about compassion and inclusion. Comment below and tell us about a time when someone saw past differences to the person beneath. Your story might inspire someone to choose understanding over judgment today.